Hi everyone, this is Tanya from You and Your Witchy Stuff. So today I am doing a deck review. I haven't really done any of these on my channel, but it's about time. Yes. So I hope this all finds you all well, all cool. Now I'm going to do a disclaimer right now before I forget. This video and this deck here may trigger, may be offensive to some of you, especially it's a very male presenting deck, meaning it's full on nudity. The whole deck is. It shows a lot of penis. It shows a lot of male power in the male divine masculine. There's not enough decks of that in my opinion, as I am a witch and a practitioner that works with both the divine feminine and the divine masculine. If you watch any of my previous videos, my main patron goddess is Hecate, and in complement is Hades. Hades came to me within about 2 years on that. As the divine masculine representation of the divine masculine, the power to will, versus the divine feminine, the power to feel, to be what lies beneath. So the masculine is to act, the female is to kind of be the one as a guide, or takes in things and then follows the intuition or guides herself or others through this life. Also, female tends to be a bit more of a combination of fiery, turbulent energy for women, but also a very nurturing, healing energy. It's kind of like that main thing that holds the life together. And the male force, in my opinion, is that which kind of brings a foundation, a rock to a practice, or in life, kind of like a father. And kind of like a father figure who is, in the right respect, and you work with the divine masculine, is respectful of the female, and the female will offer she gifts and what her divinity is in this life, and how they work together, and how she complements him and how he complements her. I believe in my practice everything has to do with duality and balance. As I'm very much an energetic witch, I'm very much a intuitive. I like the divine light and divine dark, if you watched any of my videos on that. And with that said, we're going to get into the deck. Now, I'm not going to show the full deck on that. This is just a review, in my opinion, from a woman's perspective, a divine feminine perspective, or to the opposite coin on that of being Hades, whom I work with, of course, as I just mentioned a few moments ago, of his favorite deck to work with. The deck I am showing is the Sabbath Tarot by Alan Spears and his partner Jeff Cullen. This is, again, it's got a nice amount of female nudity in it and tasteful. This is artistic. But again, if you are not into that, and you're definitely not into things that show things like Lucifer or Satan, or what I consider the darker flame of the path, of the left-hand path of witchcraft, which is not negative or evil in any aspect of my opinion, as in more embrace myself and try to bring myself into alignment and balance in my truth and stop repressing everything. Who cares what others think, honestly? Or my own limiting beliefs. So with that said, this deck, I'm not going to show the whole thing, but this deck is phenomenal. Phenomenal if you are on the left-hand path of witchcraft or any spiritual path, whether or not you are a masculine, a man, or identify as a man, then this will definitely be a good representation for you. Honest, of course, if you don't mind seeing a lot of penis. But all the individuals in this deck are beautiful and very powerful and great representations of witchcraft and what it feels like, the witch flame. This deck also works in conjunction with the Witch's Tarot, which is by Chris Madsen from Burning Paper Hearts. They work together. So they kind of, in my new moon readings, they kind of actually do work in conjunction with each other, or for clarification when I need to see both how to will something from Hades, or how to bring something into foundation and accountability, and Hecate, how to bring something in accountability, but to use my female divinity in that to marry with my logic, my strengths, and my will to move forward, but to guide me in intuition and, of course, my power. And that what lies beneath, or to help me move through this life. This, again, is just all my opinions in this, and this is just my practice. Again, before there's no turning back, if you don't feel comfortable with these types of decks, or darker aspects of, well, I consider witchcraft and the witch flame, that which is fire, turn back now. Turn me off. But I appreciate you watching and viewing this. Hopefully this deck, if you don't know about it, again, you can check out Entering the Sabbath by Alan Spears. This is a photography deck that is manipulated, of course, and in my opinion, it is one of my top 5 of my decks. I use it for daily draws. I use it for major issues and clarification and insight to aid me in my magic, my practice, to get a message from Hades, even from my spirits that work with Hades, and what I need to revolutionize in my life. Hades is a death deity, and he's very misconceived in my opinion, and from my experience and my personal gnosis. And again, this is all my personal gnosis on this. Each of us has our own different way on how we feel, what we work with, or what we don't work with, what's right for us or not. So again, this is just me. So yeah, if you want to see my opinion from a woman that feels empowered by masculinity on the right end, yes, I do have someone in my life that I'm very close to. Not my husband, not by any means. He's a perfect example of a compliment that recognizes what a woman brings to the table, and men, on a healthy level, in a nurturing level, and a very empowering level for himself and for others. He's also worked in the health field, so therefore, how appropriate. So I have someone that lifts me up as a woman in an example, whereas I do have some in my life that does have the divine masculine, an aspect that he has authority, rule, and holds accountability, but doesn't hold himself accountability. And to be honest, not a great example of lifting up a female of any of this aspect, whether it's me or other family members or women in his environment. Very hypocritical. That's where the divine masculine is not embodied in a right way. So, with that being said, I'm not going to get on my soapbox. I do not want to either ever bash male power or divinity. There's so many men in power, yes. Hence the world, hence our government and other things, hence people in our life or that we come across. There's a lot of that. But that's the fuck the patriarchy thing. Some aspects I agree with, obviously. However, not all of those, and this is not in the soapbox about that. And certain ways I find it's disrespectful to the male presence, just like it is for women being demeaned. It's two different sides of the same coin. Everything should be respected and revered. If it's not working in the right way, then choose what you want from it, or choose to walk away and just let it go. That's what I'm even teaching myself about many things in my life. So with that being said, and this might be, again, a long video, so thanks for checking it out. And with that, come and enjoy, get a beverage. I got my lovely Dance Macabre cup here with my Assam black tea, which is one of Hades' favorite teas when I have tea with him, and discussions, advisement, or just a great laugh and lust. So with that said, this is only part of the deck. I kind of divided it up with what my favorites, or what's just a show. There's another half to this. I do not have the first edition or the full sized edition. This is the travel edition. This is an indie deck. The actual first edition, or the second edition, I believe, of the actual larger deck is quite a bit more expensive, but it would be definitely worth it, in my opinion, maybe someday as an investment, as a collector, because it comes in a wooden box with a bag and a hardcover guidebook, which is the same, so very similar to the guidebook that comes with this deck, but a bit more, and of course much larger size of the deck. However, I was tempted to buy it, but at this point, I am bonded with this deck, as it's bonded with me and Hades, and it has a special place in my collection. I don't read for clients with this deck. Maybe someday, if I encounter the right person, or the right witch or practitioner, or even the right person that embodies that fire or needs that advisement. So with that being said, as I mentioned, the guidebook is really, really nice. Now, forgive me, I got a kind of a hangover. So if I keep going on, thanks for being patient with all of this. And I'm just checking to make sure I'm filming so I don't make some mistakes I did last week. So here's the guidebook. It is nice. It's got like, let me just open this something here, just to see if you can bring that into focus. See, it gives you a nice page. It doesn't give you a actual photographic or rendition of the card image, but it does have that clearly. This deck is great. Sometimes, though, and it has beautiful red edging, gilding that came on it. As you can see, this is the half I'm going to be showing some of the images of. You're going to see the star on that, of course, in the black. And then, of course, then this is just to show real quick that this is actually one of the most well-made decks I have ever seen in my collection. I got about 100 decks between Oracle and Tarot. And basically most of my decks are of a darker aesthetic. That's just me. Of course, I love horror movies. Yeah. So there's my message to myself that how I'm trying to get through and with that pride thing. And both Hades and Hecate have been helping me. So if you need help and guidance in your life, not only there to bring about death energies, but renewal and rebirth, but also healing and empowerment. They want you to advocate for yourself and be the best version of yourself on no matter what path you are on, whether you're male or female, or what you work with, or what you choose not to. So, again, the texture of this deck is, or the finish, I don't know exactly what it is, but is phenomenal. And I'm talking spoiled by this deck. I got it about, I don't know, give or take 8 months, maybe more, maybe less. I was eyeing it since I saw it. As I'm a big fan of Jeff Cullen, which is the creator's partner of his book, like for Hecate, I believe it's called Liber Cathonia. I don't have it right in front of me, so if I said that wrong, the title, I apologize. He also created a beautiful statuary. He creates them, but I only have one. It's like a little chest-sized piece of Hecate Analia. If I said that wrong, yeah. But she's one of the epithets I work with is Hecate. So, then this is now about my full practice, other than that Hades factors in with this deck a lot for me. This is an embodiment of Hades. There's not enough gnosis, I believe, or things out there mentioned about Hades, and other than the Hades Persephone myth, and yeah, I don't see it fully as that. That's again my opinion and my gnosis. So, with that being said, this deck I got it on sale. I think it was around $50 when I bought it. Normally it's closer to $65, I believe. It comes with, let me see here, besides that great guidebook, which is great, very great, to the point, but very thorough and very rich. This deck is very left-hand path, very divine dark, and very divine masculine, but has, as I mentioned earlier, a healthy dose of feminine. I highly recommend this for someone that needs balance in their life, or to bring in an aspect of male divinity, the divine masculine, that which has power and the beauty of the male form, in the complement to the divine feminine, to help marry those energies, to help bring into alliance. There's so much that can be given by embracing the dark with the light. Not everything should be love and light. I fell for that trap for years in between my practice and reverted, as my path is always crooked, like for most of us, whether you are a practitioner or not. But yes, and by doing that, that was part of how I fucked myself with pride. Excuse my language, but it's me. So if you're still watching, you know that I'm a bit, yeah. So with this, on that, this deck here has also been helping me on with the Witch's Black Lens, which is just passed, that I was working on to help me, and I still am and will be without 24, working on with the aspect of pride. So without further ado, here's part of the deck, as I mentioned. It's thicker than this. Comes in this, with the deck, you don't even have to purchase, a beautiful velvet pouch or bag for carrying and traveling. Amazing. Many things now do not come with that, but I know the reasons why. But again, one of the best indie decks I've ever seen, and one of the top 5 in my collection. So some of these cards, again, I did go through to pick a lot of my favorites, which may not have as many full-on penis. Not that there's anything wrong with that. You know, I like to see that. I'm sure others do, but yeah. Especially since we're right at the Ostara time with the equinox and fertility, and if you're in the northern hemisphere, with energy coming in. So I'm going to show these cards to the best of my ability here. Again, got a slight hangover, so bear with me. Okay. Start off with, sorry, this is the Ace of Staffs, or Wands as traditionally called. I love that. It's like the Hand of Glory, but it's also like, come on baby, light my fire. Time to set the night on fire. Big Doors fan here, or a music fan overall. So next is, sorry, I just have too many here. A lot of these are trumps or major arcana, because I'm a big major arcana girl and a big swords type of girl. Even though swords kind of stab the hell out of me. But yeah, stories for another day. And with that, next one is going to be the Fawn or the Fool. Many of these cards are renamed. I love that. That's one of my favorite fools I have ever seen. Got the Sun in here. This is I've never been a fan of the RWS, or traditional depiction of the baby riding a horse and all of that stuff. I mean, some of them are done right, but yeah, that's not me. This is my version of the Sun. This is what I look for. This is what I want in a great tarot deck, or in a great different, other than the traditional depiction or what's commonly known. So I love that Sun. Again, one of my favorite cards. This is one of my great favorite cards. This is the Witch Queen, which is the Empress in this deck. Now look at this powerful female. She's sitting on her throne, embodying her power. That's why this is a very divine feminine, stand in your power, stand in your beauty and your truth. Her throne may be a male she's sitting on, or a spirit, but just look at how beautiful that is. You can see on that how she is kind of looking up and forward. You can see the moon in the background, but such a beautiful deck. And again, such a beautiful, amazing card for the divine feminine, and is a depiction of the Empress. Most Empresses in decks obviously show a pregnant woman, which is fertility, which Empress is mothering and nurturing. However, and those of us that are witches, besides those aspects, is the Empress is also about nurturing yourself and your power and standing in your truth and what you have to offer, present the world, and in your craft for that. A healing, powering energy. being the Empress is not always about being soft, feminine, or giving life or giving birth. Some of us that don't have children or just didn't happen or choose not to, sometimes there's different aspects to that. And you got to look at the different aspects from things in life from different sides of the same coin or perspective. This one is the wardens in this are the knights. This is the Warden of Blades. Also one of my favorite cards. Look at that. Just great. This is the Warden of Staffs. Also one of my favorites. Look at that torch and that fire. Like I said, this is definitely a fire energy type of deck. This one will get, if you need that kick in the ass or you need something that gives you the truth, raw, unapologetic, but will kick your ass into effect or in your practice or your life, or give you the harsh truth you need to face, this deck is for that. And I believe also would be for others. This one, I like this Ten of Cups. How it kind of shows the relationship more so of fulfillment, celebration, culmination, but how it goes with interactions with others. In your life, whether it be another person, your spouse or partner, friendships, teamwork and collaboration, even with work or a career or in your practice, your spiritual practice, whatever that may be. This one, instead of the lovers, it's just called love. I love that depiction of that though. And this deck, the colors are beautiful on that. Only in the, as you can see down here, it is the titles and such of each card are small, but they're in gold embossing. Then it is hard to see the light you're in. That is basically my only criticism, honestly. And if that's the only thing is on that, yeah, I would still buy this deck 100 times over. I'm still considering buying a backup, because this is going to be one of my ride or die decks. Oh, or is. Okay, look at this Ten of Swords. Yeah, you can feel that. As opposed to the Ace of Staffs, this is the Ace of Discs or Pentacles in common decks. As you can see, it's kind of like what's being offered or foundation, what's being lifted up or offered in the material realm, such as work, career, family, things that are practical or tangible or earthy. I like that. This is, I love this depiction of the Seven of Wands. It is, Seven of Wands is what you're cultivating. Excuse me while I take a sip of tea out of my cup before I spill it all over myself. So, look how he is actually creating with the fire or the star and what he's looking to create or cultivating. That's what, to me, should be the clear of message of the Seven of Staffs or Wands. Not just leaning over your plow or your tool to assess your garden or your life or what you're creating, whatever that may be, but also what you're trailblazing and what effort you're putting into it too. The High Priest, which is the Hierophant in most decks, traditional decks, but this was changed to the High Priest. I love this High Priest. It's kind of like raising you up versus and beckoning versus bow the fuck down to me. Like common organized religion kindly does not kindly do and kind of represses into submission. This is asking you to join, to learn, to teach, to embody your truth, to find the truth behind what lies beneath, to show and affront your power, but your knowledge, to beckon to learn the knowledge. This deck, I have not mentioned it, but it has 3 aspects of the devil. It has Lucifer, which I have in this pile, Diabolus, which I don't, and I believe the traditional devil, which I didn't see when I was organizing the cards, but I'm sure it's in there. Just eluding me. one of my favorite cards ever. And this is for any deck when I'm looking whether I want to purchase it for my collection or for my use, or how I'm going to find a place with it in my workings, whether it be my own magic and my own practice and my own guidance, or whether it be for clients, the High Priestess. This, I think, is honestly, my favorite High Priestess, besides the one by, in the Mr. Freiburg Marseille deck. On that, wow, I can't think. Yeah, well, again, I don't edit my videos currently, so what you're seeing is what you get. But look at her. She's looking up, kind of like the channeling and medium that she is. She's looking from the Book of Mysteries, a grimoire, the truth, learning and guidance, but also channeling and staying in her power. She looks very rooted, but very in the mysteries, but also not veiled at the same time. You can almost feel that she's actually pulling from the messages of her guides, of what she works with in her truth, to bring insight into that. Sort of like me, I'm a channeler. I work with spirits, and also for my client reading, meaning those that loved ones that have passed over, or ancestors. Also spirit guides, of course, of any sort, guardian angels as people call them, whatever. And of course familiars and spirits I work with. The marked man, which is the Hanged Man. I like that he's called the marked man. Instead of the Emperor, this is the Witch Queen. Witch Queen? Oh my God, really? The Witch King. Yes. Beautiful Emperor. I love the Emperor. That's probably one of my favorite Emperors of all the decks I own or have encountered or looking to buy, which my deck list is hundreds. Yeah. Yep. Witchy Hoarder over here. Look at this Three of Cups. Again, I love that Three of Cups. Usually you see 3 females on that in most decks. I love how this is the same, on different side of the same coin, 3 males celebrating. The celebration of male, of a good harmonious energy, friendship, working together, and just general love. The healing love, that having the right male energy or aspects in one's life, whether you are identify as a male or identify as a female. This is the Warden of Discs. I love like the goat's head, ram's heads, and throughout this deck. The initiates are pages in this deck, by the way. Vessels are cups. This one is, of course, this is normally temperance, but because this is a more darker left-hand path, in my opinion, and what it feels to be a witch, just like the Witch's Tarot, as I mentioned, it's intemperance. This image may trigger some of you, being on the cross like that, but it shows you a different aspect, is how, yeah, she's kind of like suffering, kind of like the image of like Christ on the cross type of thing. However, you still got to find a balance in your power. It's kind of like she's also howling at the same time and standing in her powers. Like many of those ones that were convicted throughout the witch trials or persecuted. They still stood in their truth. They still stood steadfast to whatever their truth was, whether they were or were not practitioners. I just love this because temperance is always one of my favorite cards, but I love that it's a different depiction versus the traditional art card, or that, to me, it's alchemizing energies. But it's also, this one shows a different aspect of that completely. Two of Deaths. Here is my old friend, if you watched this week's, meaning today's the last day of, but of the weekly reading and advisement, I got my best friend, friend of me, the Tower. Yeah, this is the Tower, again, even though I really have a late love-hate fucking relationship with it, yeah, it's still one of the cards I look for. Yeah. We all have those cards that are kind of, if we're readers or collectors, or we read for ourselves or others, that are basically something we always are either cringeworthy, but Tower is not always necessarily bad. This is called the Pyre. I love that. That's what the Tower is, to burn away. Burn away, whether you choose to or whether the universe just chooses to burn away fucking what doesn't work for you. Whether you chose to, and if you are burning away all those habits, those energies that do not work for you, those relationships, those fears, or that which is not serving you, or which has been conditioned in you, whether it be in this life or any present ones, yes. However, it also shows how the fire is if you choose not to and you keep standing by and being a bystander in your life, you want change but you don't act on it, or you'll keep repeating the same cycles, the same complaints, that it is going to burn it away from you in a way if you don't take action first. That's why I like about this deck. It shows that you need to take action, or the action is being taken for you. So different aspects of the Tower in that. Many do show fire with Tower, like the Nameless Tarot does, in a different rendition also. This is Three of Swords, always pretty traditional, or you can get the feeling there. I love the pops of red in this deck. Hence my red walls, one of my favorite colors. Black, as you can see by my nails, black's my favorite, but a very intense, vibrant red is my secondary favorite color. This is the Eight of Staffs. I love that, one of my favorites. Very obvious depiction of it too, in its meaning, or general meaning. Here is, I do have in here, I have Diabolus. This is that one of the devils, as mentioned. I love it. Hold on, the cards have a tendency, because of the finish, sometimes to stick together. But yeah, Two of Staffs. One of my favorite ones, Lady of Staffs. Of course, since I am I love the earthy aspects of her. I love that she has like antlers on the show of the aspect of what I marry with earth and fire together. A woman that stands in her truth, her power, but it's very regal at the same time. And of course, I love the skull in it. It's got a very, in my feeling, it's got a very vibe of Hecate in it, which one of her many feelings or aspects which I've encountered throughout the several years I have worked out with, and as that relationship evolves. I love this Justice card. Moving on. Yes, you can tell I love this. As you can see, Justice is one of my birth cards, as is the High Priestess. So it explains a lot of the ways I am, as birth cards do, or things inherently as I am. But I always look for justice, as justice also a big aspect in my life. So as you see the traditional scales, but you also see, it's hard to see, maybe with the lighting in here, as you see, the hounds, Hades and Hecate. Again, you can see some of the reasons why I work with this deck. Before this gets over 45 minutes, I'm going to go through this quicker. Lady of Vessels, one of my favorites. Queen of Cups, basically. Ladies are the queens in this deck. I love it. That's probably one of my favorite queens. I have Satan, which is another one of the three for the Devil card. So for any of you that work with Satan or are interested in that, that's a great card and great embodiment, at least in my opinion. I currently don't work with that, but I respect it, and who knows? My path is ever changing as I am ever changing as life is. Initiate of Staffs. That's a page, as I mentioned. I always look for the moon. This has got to be one of my favorite moon cards, too. This has got to be one of my favorite. Eight of Discs or Eight of Pentacles shows a slightly different aspect of the work, the learning, and the prudence. I like that. Almost done here. Seven of Discs. Lady of Blades, which is the Queen of Swords. I identify with the Queen of Swords. Wow. Okay. So I identify with the Queen of Swords in my readings, or she usually shows up on that. She embodies a lot of me as a Capricorn, as I am too. This is the sets of staffs. But look at that. If you really look close, look at that guy up there. That's one of my favorite things about this card. That's why I picked it. You can kind of see him up there, looking down. But also celebrating your victory with you. The Chariot, one of my favorite chariots ever. So as you see, I have many favorites. Actually, I don't have a bad card in this deck at all. In my opinion, there's not one. Well, this one is the Magician. The Magician is the Witch. Witch in this deck. For the Magician, it's the Witch they changed it to. Look at that. I just love the whole aspect, and I love that he has a black mask on. He is raising and wielding that sword of power and truth, and willing it to happen, and knowing in confidence of himself and his ability, and what he is working on, what he is summoning, and what he is being also logic in his power. That is one of my favorite magicians. Again, this deck has, of course, that's why I'm reviewing it. This is just one of the best decks ever. And death, of course, I work with a lot of death energy, as I keep mentioning. My favorite death card. This is my favorite death card ever, besides in my main deck of the Crowley Thoth. Of course, that one, like Don't Fear the Reaper. The first deck I ever owned, personally, and still my favorite #1 deck. But I love this. This is probably still, in all honesty, trumps that death card for me. So, but I am very partial to the death card for many reasons. I used to be, when I was first starting out, many ages ago, as a teenager, that would scare me. In different ways, kind of like the Tower does. It does not. It's not. I love the death card, and I embrace its energy. Oh, I did conclude all the devil cards in this. That's great. Again, I am a little off my kilter. Yeah. Lucifer. Look at that. Again, the Luciferian energies. Again, I only touched the edges of that so far, in all truthful, because I'm not a big into jumping in and dabbling. I'm into researching, feeling truth, and being respectful and reverent on that. Not subservient, but being reverent also, and respectful. Just as I want people to do that in relationships with me, or how they approach me, I would want the same for deities and such. That's how relationship goes. Kind of learn, respect, grow together. Whether or not you want to be friends, you want to be spouses or partners, or whether you want to interact with them in the workplace, that's all about discernment. I love that one. As you can see, antlers again. And last but not least, you made it to the end of the ones I was showing, but not the full deck. And we're getting close to the 45. We want to keep that. The World. I wanted to sum it up with the World. The last card of the majors, in the major arcana. Completion, cycle, fulfillment, decision making, and basically kind of like the one part of the turning of the Wheel of Fortune. You're coming to that to prepare for the next up or down turn of it. And with that, again, highly recommend this deck by Alan Spears. Not Spears. Spears. On it, it has an amazing guidebook. The travel edition is smaller. It fits nicely in a bag for traveling. Has the most beautiful edging in my opinion. I've used this deck a lot. I'm not a riffle shuffler, but none of it has peeled or degraded in it. And again, this has been in my March. You'll see my March video. This is been for my practically 70% of the time for my daily draws, if not more. And of course for working with Hades, since I've been going through a very turbulent time, as if you watch any of my previous videos. With that, I highly recommend this deck. If you are into the left-hand path, you work with Satan, Lucifer, or you work with Hades, or you embrace the divine dark like I do, and all the glory and the witch fire, a part of the witch flame, the divine masculine complement to the divine feminine. And with that, again, thank you for watching my channel, bearing with me with my morning hangover drunkenness, but I wanted to get this out here as I've been meaning to for a while, so while I had the time and energy to do so, and was prepared to do so, yeah. And with that, check out my Instagram, Little Miss Girl 79, for my craziness and my different eclectic finds and whatever, and my horror movie finds, etc. And my card reading page on Facebook is under Dark Moon Tarot Readings. I'll eventually be starting up an Etsy for my readings and for my guidance. And with that all, please like, comment, and subscribe, as it helps my channel grow as I put myself into a trial period to see what I get out of this and what interactions I get out of this. So that may help to determine the fate of my channel. But I hope this all finds you well. Thanks for being with this, and I am under 45 minutes, and till tomorrow's weekly reading. Have a nice day.